Well, hello everybody. Rob Kearney here, along with the one, the only Terry Hollins. Terry, how you doing tonight?
Very good, mate. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. I'm great because we are here talking about World's Strongest Man 2026, heading back to Myrtle Beach. And this is exciting for us because this is year two of you and I being the athlete liaisons for World's Strongest Man as retired athletes ourselves. What is our role? Let's let everybody know who we are, why the hell we're doing what we're doing, because I feel like some people might be confused.
Yes, I mean, obviously, I think that some of the stuff we do is prior to the competition. We sort of act on behalf of the athletes, giving a little bit of advice to the organisers, just making sure the guys have got everything they need, they're safe, they've got everything covered so they can give the best performance that they're capable of. And obviously, then when we're there to help the athletes. They can come and ask us any questions. And also, I suppose, on top of that, perhaps a little bit of PR stuff while we're there as well. We did a few things on the news last year, didn't we? And stuff like that. So, yeah, we're just generally there to help as ex-athletes give our experience of the competition to make it as good as we can from our side for the athletes.
Yeah, and it's a new position that was kind of brought on last year. You and I both first time in the role, and after a great experience last year in Sacramento, you and I have talked throughout the year about what we can do to help make it better, and talking to the athletes, talking with the everybody at Worlds to make sure we just want this to be the best show ever, right? Like, as both guys that have competed there multiple times, we want to make sure that the product we put out, that the competition that all you fans get is the absolute best. And I mean, to be honest, I'm honored that I get to do it with you. You competed a lot longer than me, Terry.
Too long, mate. Too long.
But it's nice, even though my shorter career than yours, we're able to put our heads together and make this event great.
Definitely. I mean, and obviously, we've got some of the best athletes we've ever had, the deepest lineups we've ever had. So obviously we can then have, some input into making them be able to produce their best, which is basically all what we're all looking for. We all want to see the best athletes in the best shape so that, facilitating the things that they need to get that out of them, even if it's just a small role, is a great thing.
Yeah. And just to be clear to everybody watching, we do not make any decisions. We just get to give our opinions. And then the people that get paid way more than us make those decisions on, really the couple of things that they're looking for. One, they want to get the best performance out of the athletes, like Terry just said, right? Like, we want to make sure we're getting the best product, and we want to find who is the world's strongest man, while also keeping those athletes safe. That's really the biggest focus. But I will say, you mentioned it, the athlete lineup that we have so far is awesome. We have
Unbelievable.
four returning World Strongest Men. We have multiple World Strongest Man veterans. And I'm going to throw it over to you. Who are some of the top names you're most excited to see this year going into World Strongest Man?
I mean, probably the biggest one for me that I'm most excited to see is Martin's coming back, because obviously he's a great character, an amazing athlete, former winner, and I think it gives that element of intrigue to it as well. Can he get back to his best? Can he be like he was in 2019 when he won World's Strongest Man? I think obviously I'm excited about a lot of the athletes, but I'm really intrigued to see Martins. And also, obviously, like I said, he's a great guy, real nice guy. He trains hard, he's smart. I'm intrigued to see if he can get back to what he was, or maybe even beyond that. So I think that adds even more excitement to the show.
I think what I'm excited to see too is, like, all of us have seen how good Martins is so often, right? Like, he is absolutely methodical with his events, with his training. And he's always one of those guys where you're watching his training and we're like 6 weeks out from a show and you're like, there's no way he's going to be strong enough to lift anything at the competition. And then he shows up and he tears it down. But seeing him going against the other three World's Strongest Men winners, right? So we have Mitchell Hooper, who we know is a perennial threat to every single competition, Tom Stoltman, and then the reigning champ, Ray Nonell. So seeing these guys who go against each other, and again, remember everybody, the big change that we saw last year was how much the qualifiers matter going into the finals, right? So those points are still going to carry over this year. We're staying with the same point system. And, this was something that came out of a lot of conversations that Terry and I had about what can we do to make this competition even more exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I think There has been years in the past where perhaps some of the guys, they know they're through, they start to coast. And obviously, we want every event to matter. We want everything to be as exciting as it can be, right the way through each heat. And obviously, that was a very smart way to do it in terms of, even if you've qualified for the final, you're, one of the superstars of the sport, you're already through. You've still got to keep pushing because that can cost you points in the final, which, could essentially end up costing you the victory. It comes down to such small margins when the guys get through to the final. So any point you can get as an advantage over your, close competitors is huge.
Yeah, and I think that was what made it so much fun last year. And again, not taking away anything from the athletes, in the previous way the competition was set up, if I was in that position where if I didn't have to work as hard in one of the events to save my energy for the finals, I would do the same thing. I know you would too. But now, putting this focus on the qualifiers, making sure every athlete is going out there at 100% every single event is really exciting. And with this new format, with the athletes that we have so far, 21 of the 25 athletes have been announced so far. So we know we're still waiting on 4 more. Where are those guys going to come from?
Yeah, so obviously we've still got Europe's Strongest Man coming up, which is very close. There's, I think, a fair few guys in the lineup that have already qualified and have already accepted their invites, but there is some spots up for grabs. And obviously we got to kind of see where that falls and who ends up on the podium at Giants Live Europe's Strongest Man. The top 3 get an automatic invite. If it's guys that have already qualified, then obviously then there's conversations that need to be had, not by us. We don't make those decisions, but those they'll sort of look at previous events. We've got the Arnolds in between as well, so that's an ideal opportunity for a few guys to show what they're made of, and perhaps guys that haven't qualified, whether they've missed qualifiers or haven't had as many opportunities. There's an opportunity there for some of the guys to show what they can do, and obviously a big performance at the Arnolds would help. But then a big performance at Europe's Strongest Man, even if you don't crack top 3, could be a big help as well. So there's a lot of wheels sort of that need to be put in place, and you've got some fantastic athletes that haven't qualified yet. So it's going to be interesting to see how it pans out. I think we've got, like I said, a couple of new guys at Europe's Strongest Man that have potentially got chances of getting on the podium. And then on top of that, obviously, we've got a few good Americans and Canadians, North Americans, that haven't qualified as well that, we may be seeing at World's Strongest Man or may not. It all depends on how it pans out.
And I think that's the exciting thing. Even though we're only 9 weeks out from the competition, which is crazy to think it's already that close, there's still so much that can happen, with who's going to show up and what exactly is going to happen down in Myrtle Beach. But I think the big reason we're here and the most exciting reason we're here is we get to tell everybody the events for both the qualifiers and the finals for this year's World's Strongest Man. And Terry and I just got these sent to us just a little bit while ago, and we got to talk a little bit about it. And I will say there are some exciting things about the events because to me, they are tried and true strongman with some retro themes and retro ideas behind them to make them even more exciting from the things we've already seen in the past.
Yeah, I mean, it's really exciting. Obviously, we sort of went through them all and got a quick look at what's going on. And I think it's going to make for a great competition. There's so many sort of moments that could cause some drama. Events where perhaps the faster guys get off to a good lead, but then the fitter guys come through towards the end, or there's a lot of things. And I think, I think I can mention this. We can talk about the events, can't we? Yeah. I'm really, really excited to see the squat coming back for the heats. I think it's been 2021 since we saw a squat, and it's going to be great to see that coming back. And also, the added thing of this year, they've had an extra bit of equipment made that's the same. So we're going head to head as well, which makes it even more exciting.
Yeah, I mean, head-to-head events are always fun, right? Like, those are the best. They're visually appealing. You can see rep for rep the guy. And as a competitor, you love that too, right? Because you're looking out of the corner of your eye. All right, there's 1, there's 2. Where am I going against each other? So it really pulls that out of each other. So I'm thrilled. I'm so excited for this to see that squat back in the heats. Another thing that we're seeing coming is a medley to start off the competition that we think is going to be the farmer's walk into power stairs, which as a guy who has meat mitts for hands, I'm pretty happy that I'm not doing this.
I would have loved this event. It would have been perfect for me. I'd have been literally, the guys opening their emails when they get the events through. If I'd have been one of them guys, I'd have been like, yes, this is brilliant. But there's a little bit of a retro thing to the farmers walk as well, because they're bringing back the old farmers walk, the anvils, which
Right.
are quite tough to use. They do bash off your legs quite a bit, but they're going to be obviously a little bit heavier with the guys getting a bit stronger and the guys getting more proficient. So that's going to be really exciting because they can create a bit of drama. People make mistakes. If they go off too fast, they do get a bit all over the place. So that's interesting. And then we're going into power stairs, which I believe is going to be really tough.
Yeah, they're talking about developing an entirely new implement for this power stairs. And, without divulging too much, there's going to be some added excitement. And like I think the perfect word Terry said is drama, right? So there, with this event, again, it is grip, some speed, and then all that posterior chain grip stuff. It is a insane way to start this show.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be really tough for the guys. But I think it kind of sets out the stall really well for the competition. It's kind of like this is not going to be easy. Whoever wins this title is going to thoroughly deserve it. And I think it's good to get off to a tough start, essentially, because it's kind of giving the guys, puts them in the right mindset, because this is going to be tough. Sometimes when you have perhaps a bit of a slightly easier first event, it kind of, it starts a little bit slow and then it builds. But right off the bat, the guys are going to need to be on it.
Yeah, and then off that, so we have the carry event, we have the squat, we also have an overhead circus medley that is going to be some dumbbells, some circus barbells, and this is something we've seen a few different times. But again, with these medley style events at World's Strongest Man, you know how difficult they are, especially depending on what order is. And that's one thing I will say. We don't know the order of the events for the qualifiers yet. So we're spitting them out there for you, but we don't know exactly how they're going to fall. So depending on where this overhead medley falls, it could be really tough depending on how we're feeling going into that event.
Yeah, I mean, certainly if obviously I think we know they're starting with that power stairs farmers walk medley to start with. I believe that's how they're starting, and then obviously, whatever comes after that is your legs are going to be a little bit taxed. So if it's the squat next, that's going to be tough. If it's the overhead medley, you're not going to have as much leg drive. Maybe that favours the guys with the stronger shoulders a little bit. There's a lot of dynamics that are going to be sort of at play, but ultimately we are going to find the best strongman, and there's no doubt about that.
Yeah. Two last events in the qualifying heats. We have a truck pull coming back to the heats for the first time since 2019. I remember this one vividly because it was the two monster trucks that were attached together. And this is the event that cost me the final spot that year. Not that I'm bitter. It's fine. It was 7 years ago.
It happens.
Seeing a truck pull again in the heats is exciting because it's not something we typically see with a full field of 25 guys.
No, and obviously it's a really good way of sort of measuring the guys. Like you can literally see the times between all the guys, not just in one group, across all the groups. I believe it's going to be quite a heavy truck pull this time as well, because I know the monster truck was really tough, but we had a bus. When was it in Myrtle Beach? Was it 2023, I believe?
Yes.
In the final. Which perhaps could have done with being a tiny bit heavier, if I'm honest. These things happen sometimes, but I believe this is going to be a tough truck pull. So they're certainly not making it easy for the guys in the heats. And at the end of the day, it's World's Strongest Man. It's never going to be easy, but I think that we'll get a good split of times. The best guys will certainly come to the top, and yeah, it's great to see it back. I mean, it's so iconic, isn't it, the truck pull? It's like when you think of strongman, you kind of think of Atlas stones and truck pulls and things like that. So it's great to see it back, I think.
Listen, even though I was never that good at it, I still liked it because you feel badass when you get to pull a truck.
Exactly. You always
Right.
get some good photos as well. Always. Just you with a massive truck strapped to the back of you and you're pulling it along. But yeah, it's great to see it back for sure.
And then to finish out so we know the first event is going to be that farmers walk in and power stairs medley, and we know the final event is going to be the natural stone medley. So bringing back something that we did last year with some tweaks. There's going to be a couple of carries, a stone to shoulder, a stone load. And to be honest, I like this. I like ending with a stone medley because it shows some versatility in stone lifting, right? Everybody at World's Strongest Man can lift an Atlas stone. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Now we need to see some of that strategy come into play because of what the qualifiers mean in getting those points in the finals.
Yeah, I mean, I actually really enjoyed it last year. I think that the tweak, I believe they're taking out the stone press,
Correct.
which I think is a good move because some of the guys perhaps struggled with it, not so much because they weren't strong enough, just because of technical stuff. I think that, when that's an event right at the end, it's sort of do or die moment for some of the guys. You don't want to be putting them in a position they're losing because of a small technicality. You want to be them not getting through because they're not as strong as the other guy. I think that when you make it overly technical, it can sometimes, change the result a little bit. So I think this is a great move in terms of the change. I believe they're starting with the Webster stones, which were used in Myrtle Beach a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I think that's a great move. Tough start to the event, and then obviously a lot of the rest of it's going to be very similar to what it was last year.
So qualifying events we know are going to be tough. And with the World's Strongest Man setup, we're going back to what we did last year with the 4 days straight through, Thursday through Sunday. So no rest day in between. And we're going to go right into the finals, starting off with the Kanak medley. Now, this one's going to be exciting because we know a couple of things for sure. We know there's going to be a yoke. We know there's going to be some kind of frame carry. But they are building a new piece of equipment for the last implement in this medley.
Yeah, so it's going to be subject to testing to an extent. I think it's going to be some sort of flip, almost to replicate a car flip, but with huge toolboxes instead, which is going to be really interesting. I think they said that the weight potentially is going to be around about £1,000, which is nice and heavy. But I mean, I think it's just, obviously subject to testing and everything else. The weights are kind of not set in stone, and it's obviously being built at the moment, but I love the idea that they're sort of thinking about different things and trying to bring some new concepts. And obviously having Kanak involved is a great thing as well, because they've been very supportive of the competition for a few years in terms of equipment for the events. So yeah, I'm really excited to see it. And obviously what a way to start yoke into frame carry into some sort of flip is a hell of a start.
Yeah, and I think the coolest part about what we do is there's always something new, right? Like we're always seeing something change. We're always seeing a new piece of equipment. And for them to come in and say, you know what, like we want to make this event bigger. We want to build something that's even cooler for you. Building this apparatus for this flip. And again, £1,000. I mean, come on, we're starting off just completely off the rails after 2 full days of competition into this. It's just going to be nuts. But I will say the thing I am excited about is we get to see another 1 rep max overhead this year in the finals. This year, near and dear to my heart, the max log press.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see it back. I enjoyed the behind the neck press last year, but again, talking about signature events like truck pull atlas stuff, log pressing is so signature for strongman. And I actually think that we've got a few guys at the moment that are potentially capable of world records as well, which obviously we had Zadrunas for so many years, was so dominant, and a few obviously guys like yourself were very good as well. But I do think we're in a position where we could potentially see world records getting broken on the log press. And I think that why not obviously have a max overhead and have a log and potentially get a world record in the final of World's Strongest Man. It would be a great moment for TV and great moment for the crowd that are there watching.
Yeah, I mean, my mind immediately goes to, both Stoltmans are just overhead pressing monsters right now. But then you also have, I mean, I was just scrolling through Instagram the other day and you see Trey Mitchell strict pressing 430 pounds. Obviously, we have Lucas Hatton in the mix this year. Again, Trey, American record holder, Lucas just up there as well. So having a max log in the finals, super exciting. An event I'm excited I'm not doing is they're bringing back the Titans toss this year, which we saw the inaugural year for that this past year at World's Strongest Man 2025. And this is that sandbag toss. But again, as you get deeper into the event, those sandbags get further and further and further away from you.
Yeah, I mean, it was really enjoyable last year, and I thought that it looked great. It was a great spectacle. I think sometimes when you're kind of doing the sandbags over a bar, it can be a little bit sort of fast, perhaps sometimes. And I think that this sort of just dragged the event out a little bit longer. It created a bit more drama, a bit more excitement, and I think that it was a great event last year. And obviously having it in the final this year with the best guys doing it, I mean, it's going to be really exciting. It's just such an amazing thing to see. You just see these bags flying like 20 meters or, like 75 feet or whatever that is, just literally flying through the air. It's incredible to see. And obviously we've got such a deep lineup of athletes. We're going to see some great performances on that, I'm sure. The guys are they're such well-rounded athletes now in terms of like explosive power and technicalities and stuff like that. So I think that because of the great athletes we have, not just great strongmen, they're great athletes. I think events like that become even more exciting because it showcases the guys' athleticism. They're not just big, strong brutes. They're guys that are super athletic, super coordinated. And I think why not have an event that showcases that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see it. It was, like you said, it was so much fun to watch last year. And knowing that it's coming back, guys have had a year to play around with it, right? That's another thing is last year we saw this. It was the first time any of these athletes had done an event like this. And now, since we did it last year, they probably have practiced it one or two times since Worlds. Now getting the events, knowing it's going to be there, they're going to be able to practice it even more and possibly get even better performances than we saw last year. But to finish out World's Strongest Man, two tried and true strongman events: deadlift for reps and Atlas stones. I mean, you talk about a way to end a show. Bring it back to the OG events. Let's just rip some weight off the floor, carry some rocks, load them on some pedestals, and let's find out who the world's strongest man is.
Yeah, I mean, it can't be world's strongest man without a world's strongest man final without a deadlift and Atlas stones. In my opinion, I think they both have to be tested. They're two of the sort of core strongman movements. I mean, it's almost perfect. We've got a max log, a heavy deadlift for reps, and Atlas stones. It's kind of like there's such signature things for strongman. Got a truck pull in the heats. It's got like almost a bit of a, with some, nice additions. It's got some retro feel to it as well. Like I remember growing up watching strongman on TV, and there'd always be like heavy deadlifts, Atlas stones, truck pulls, max log, and it's great to see it all coming back together again. And obviously, like we've sort of spoken about, or I certainly have quite a lot. The depth of athletes we have right now is absolutely incredible. So it can't not be exciting. It's going to be a hell of a show.
Yeah, I think anybody that is a fan of strongman is going to be excited for this year, right? I mean, going back to Myrtle Beach, again, a place that I hold, dear to my heart because that's where I retired just a few years ago. But it's a great venue. It's a great spot to be. 25 of the strongest men in the world coming together to find out who the world's strongest man is. And I think the exciting thing for us, Terry, is, we've had a decent hand in what's going on so far for world's strongest man, but people can expect a couple more of these little shows coming out because we're going to get the chance to talk to some athletes before World's Strongest Man. We're going to be giving you the inside scoop on the heats, which athletes in what heat. And then, Terry and I will be able to give our breakdowns and our analysis of who we think is going to perform best. And then, call out who might be the world's strongest man. So I don't know, I'm excited for the next few weeks for the lead up to the show. It's, even though we just had the Super Bowl here in the U.S., this is my Super Bowl coming up in a few weeks.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I always say, like, world's strongest man is like the Olympics of our sport. It is the absolute pinnacle. And obviously, I think they've done a great job of picking the events. We're going to have a hell of a great lineup. Myrtle Beach, I mean, obviously, I understand you've got the sentimental thing, but the last couple of times we've been there, I've had the best time. The people are so friendly, so supportive. it really has been amazing. I still have sort of visions of back a couple of years ago. You remember when they opened the gates and everyone just came running in? It was crazy. The crowd really showed up for everyone, and yeah, I mean, it's a brilliant place to hold World's Strongest Man, I think, and yeah, I'm really excited to be back there and see how this one pans out.
Well, Terry, as always, it's a pleasure talking to you. We don't do it enough, but we will be talking a lot over the next few weeks, getting up for this year's 2026 World's Strongest Man. Leave comments down below. Let us know what you think about the events. Let us know who you think the final four athletes should be at World's Strongest Man. We're excited to take you along for the ride. Again, we'll have a few more episodes coming out before the show, and you'll be seeing plenty of Terry and I all over social during World's Strongest Man. But we're excited to see you in Myrtle Beach in just a few weeks.